الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوا على رسول الله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد صلاة تفتح لنا أبواب الرضا والتيسير وتغلق بها عنا أبواب الشر والتعسير. أنت مولانا فنعم المولى ونعم النصير. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. May Allah allow us to benefit from the knowledge of Al-Imam An-Nawawi rahmatullahi alayh. But today we're going on a little divergence because the chapter that Imam An-Nawawi that he's covering is an issue that I'm also touching up on in my own thesis in regards to taking compensation for the Quran. Okay? The issue of taking compensation for the Quran. Nowadays we see, of course, there is the need for Quran teachers. If you don't pay Quran teachers, nobody's going to come and teach. We need Taraweeh imams or imams in general. If you don't pay them, compensate them, nobody's going to be leading the salawat. Quran competitions that exist across the world. Some of them that have prizes, mashallah, 100,000, 150,000, I don't know, different prizes that they have now. World international Quran competitions, which the prize money actually, if you think about it, for what the Quran is actually insignificant to the years and years and years of preparation that go into these sorts of competitions. The reading, subhanAllah, and preparation alone is a reward in itself. So there's several issues that are related to compensation in Quran. This is what Imam An-Nawawi actually touches up on. He talks about taking Quran, wages for Quran or reciting for livelihood in Tibyan. But he mentions it very short, so I thought I'd go a little bit more detailed. Of course, there is a consensus, there is an ijma' from amongst the scholars of the permissibility of taking rizq and sustenance from Bayt al-Mal if they are appointed as teachers and imams and whatnot under the public treasury, right? Bayt al-Mal. Do we have Bayt al-Mal here? Perhaps soon, maybe we're building one, right? We're working on it, inshallah, building a waqf in Bayt al-Mal, inshallah ta'ala, across the different masajid of Nashville, I think that's working on. But usually every masjid kind of acts as its own public, a treasury where basically if people are in need of zakat, this, that, they act as their own in that sense. So if it's appointed from that, there is no doubt in its permissibility, okay? The issue then comes in taking direct payments from students or asking specific wages from students and the permissibility in regards to that. Dr. Zuhaili, who was a great Syrian scholar, rahimahullah, his younger brother is still alive, great Syrian scholar, great faqih. He summarizes this issue. In the Maliki madhab, the Shafi'i madhab, they have clear nusus and clear texts where they permit people to then hire someone to teach them the Quran. So directly dealing with it as you would a teacher, as you would any other tutor. And of course there are many ahadith that they cite in regards to this. The most deserving thing, the Prophet ﷺ, the most deserving thing for which you take payment for is the book of Allah. If you make payments for teaching, tutoring your kids math or going to the lawyer or this, whatever, going to the hospital, I don't know what else we pay for, subscriptions on this, that. The best thing that a person could pay for and take payment for is the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, of course. There's also the narration of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anh, the Sahabi, who when he was doubtful about taking a payment and taking a reward for reciting Surah Al-Fatiha on someone for ruqya, for shifa. The Prophet ﷺ, he gave him not only the okay, he said, but give me a share of the animals that you're given. Give me a share also, so that your heart is at peace. So not only did he allow him to do it, but the Prophet ﷺ himself, he took from it as well. Did the Prophet ﷺ eat from sadaqah? This is not sadaqah. This is a person, the ujra and the right that he stipulated. Imam An-Nawawi, in Sahih Muslim, in his commentary on Sahih Muslim, he affirms, of course, the permissibility of taking payment for Quranic ruqya. If you go to a shaykh for ruqya, someone came to me for ruqya, wallahi, I got so scared, I said, never come to me again. So there's a shaykh in Nashville, ruqya for like jinns and sihr and all these ajib things. If you know anybody, don't send them to me. Just letting you all know, okay? I want to be able to sleep at night. Don't send them to me. Don't send them to me. But there is a sheikh in Nashville, Tennessee, Sheikh Muhammad. I believe he's in the Faruq Masjid area. He does ruqya. And of course, that takes hours and hours and hours and hours of effort. MashaAllah, you just take all of his time. He doesn't earn for his family. He's just going to live in the, Allahu Alam, in the masjid compartment or something. No, of course, he has a family. He has things that he needs to take care of as well. So when you take time from someone like that, you're not paying, exactly for the Quranic recitation itself, but you're paying for the effort, the time, and the expertise and whatnot. The mutaakhirun, usually you'll find all of the scholars now, especially like the majami' fiqhiyah, they all mention that it's permissible. All of the majami' fiqhiyah. The Hanafiya early, they would say that it isn't permissible. But if you look at the situation now where we don't have Bayt al-Mal, where we don't have these governments that are looking after all of these things, then sometimes you'll find that scholars are put in situations and teachers are put in situations where they then they have to what? They have to charge for classes. Otherwise, كيف يعيش? Otherwise, they'll never have the time and the ability to then free themselves up to teach Quran. It's a simple thing. It's a very simple concept. I mean, it applies to every other field. Sheikh Muhammad Mukhtar Shinqiti, he even mentions, is there a contradiction between the ikhlas of a person, their sincere intention, and if they're taking money? There is no ikhlas if they take money?
No,
There is, of course there is. There is no contradiction between taking an income from these sorts of things and a person not having ikhlas. Of course, if the person intends and they only study Quran and they only study these things because they know that if they do so, that they're gonna get a position or something like that. This may occur in the Muslim world. I'm telling you, that's not an issue that we have in the Western world. We're lucky and fortunate if we have a few individuals of an entire state go abroad to study and come back and then teach their communities. Because majority of the people that go back, they usually get cut off from the path of scholarship and serving. It's the case that happens because it's difficult. Again, these are challenges that some face. Sheikh Muhammad Mukhtar Shinqiti, he mentions that Ibn Jarir Tabari, Hafidh ibn Hajar, they all mention that if a person intends the hereafter with their knowledge, but takes compensation due to the necessity of earning a livelihood, taking care of your family, your children, whatever else it may be, this does not take away at all from the sincerity. Okay? Does not take it away. Where do you get the proof for this? It's throughout the Quran, throughout the hadith. The verse revealed concerning the people of Badr. And remember what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised you, one of the two groups to defeat, it was yours, and you wish that the unarmed one would be yours. Okay, this is talking about how, when the people of Badr, did they go out to fight, or what did they go out for? They went for the caravan. But then when they got there, did they go out and then fight in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal? Yes. So their ikhlas was there. Even though there was a worldly gain, this did not take away from their ikhlas. Another example that the Shaykh cites is about those, when you go for Hajj, they would also, there's ayat and ahadith related to this, that when you go for Hajj, what do they usually do also at that time? Trade, business. That go there and sell some tasbih, go there and do this, go there and that. Whatever businesses people do now, whilst they're also going to perform Hajj. So you see how they're able to, just because you're going there for business, does that mean that all of the Umrah groups and Hajj groups, none of them are getting reward? Huh? No. Khalas, Adam Travel, no reward for them. Darussalam, no reward for them. No, of course they're getting reward. And of course they're also doing business with this sort of thing. There's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever kills an enemy will get his belongings. Again, this is a worldly incentive to then encourage them also to then go out to then fight in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There again being a worldly incentive. Mullah Ali al-Qari, he mentioned something very, very significant in his commentary of Mishkatul Masabih, which is a hadith collection. Hadith of Niyyah, all of us have it memorized. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ Whoever migrates for the sake of Allah and His Messenger, then his migration, his hijrah is for the sake of Allah and His Messenger. And whoever does so for the dunya or does so for a woman, then it is for that reason. Mullah Ali al-Qari comments on this hadith, something so powerful and something that sometimes may escape us. If a person migrates and moves for the sake of marriage, does hijrah for the sake of marriage, or for the sake of going to then earn a livelihood. Some people moving to Nashville for a job. Some people recently moved here because of a job opportunity. Okay? They're doing that with the intention that if I get married, I protect myself from falling in haram. I get to start a family. I get to raise a righteous family. Or I get to travel and move somewhere and earn a livelihood somewhere. Someone just moved out of our community too and just went somewhere else. Again, to earn a livelihood. Khalas, they're sinful now? Their intention is not pure? It's only for dunya? There's no ikhlas here? It's not for deen? It is for Allah and His Messenger. It goes back, of course, to the intention of the person. There's a consensus of people, of scholars agreeing that you can take it through a state salary. And all of the scholars now, they're all almost in unanimous agreement that now we are definitely in need of being able to pay teachers so that they can free themselves up, so that they can then teach the Quran. Now the issue then arises, can you take compensation for ijazah in Quran? If it's connected to ta'aleem and learning, the process of learning and reading, this, that, yes, you can. But there's a few quotes that I'm going to quote. Hamza, the great qari, the qira of Hamza, Zirat al-Mustaqim. You all know that one? The one people get kind of scared. Zirat al-Mustaqim. Imam Hamza, he would spend 1 year in Kufa and 1 year in Hulwan. And a man from that place, that region, he was amongst from the most prominent people, rich people. And when he recited and finished, he sent him 1,000 dirhams. He sent Imam Hamza how much? 1,000 dirhams. Oof. Imam Hamza, he says to his son, I thought you had some aql. I thought you had some intelligence. Do you think I would take payment for the Quran? I'm here to receive only al-Firdaus al-A'la with this. I don't want this money. Because they didn't want to corrupt their intentions. But again, he's taking care of this, that. And I personally, from my own experience of reading to over a dozen shuyukh for ijazah, some shuyukh will stipulate an amount. Because that is their income. They're 24/7 only for teaching Quran. Now you're going to tell him, Shaykh, you're 24/7 that you're teaching Quran, you cannot take money for it. How is he going to live? كيف يعيش? Okay, but then there were certain other teachers that I read to. They had their own professions that they were doing outside. They were not as scholarly as those that were full-time, because clearly someone who's fully dedicated has more opportunity to then dive into the field more, just like in any other takhassus. Like imagine, let's tell a doctor, be a doctor, but then also be an engineer at the same time. What? Well, how do we expect that from scholars? It's very strange. And so some teachers, they wouldn't stipulate anything, but then they would do ishara that if you do give a gift, a hadiyah, then this is also something that is unanimously accepted. The only issue is, and the ikhtilaf really lies in, and whether the shaykh stipulates a wage. And like I said, majority of the ummah and the ulama of this ummah have said that it is not only permissible, but in the time we live in, actually it's kind of necessary, very, very necessary. There's a beautiful quote, and I'll end it with this, inshallah ta'ala, so I don't go too long on this issue particularly, of Imam Haskafi. You know Hashiyat ibn Abidin? Hashiyat ibn Abidin is a hashiyah on the book called Ad-Durr al-Mukhtar, which is written by Imam Haskafi, which is one of the most important texts in Hanafi fiqh. My shaykh published it in 6 volumes, his edition. He mentions a quote, and I'm going to just translate it in English, where he states, he's quoting from a book, where he states that a student of knowledge is allowed to receive zakah. Not just ujra, not just you're giving him money for his time, or you're giving him money for his effort. He's allowed to receive zakah even if he is wealthy, provided he has devoted himself completely to imparting and acquiring knowledge. Like for example, when we have students going overseas, if you go overseas and let's say, alhamdulillah, I had the support of my father. He said, I got you. You're going, I don't want anybody else to get the reward except me. So my father was able to sponsor my studies. Do people always have that luxury? They don't. Some people, when they want to go abroad to study, they have no support. Sometimes even their family's against them. So what are they going to do? Go work odd jobs while they're going to study? Are you going to study or are you going to work? Many people, I'll tell you from my own experience when I was living in Saudi, many students, they're there to study, but then they end up becoming like normal expats, just teaching English 4 hours of the day. It's like, did you come here for ilm or did you come here for teaching English? Did you just come here to improve Saudi's English, the English of Saudis, or did you come here to actually learn knowledge and sit in gatherings of hadith and fiqh and tafsir? So again, Imam Haskafi, he mentions that even giving zakah to free up scholars and to free up their time so that they're fully dedicated is also something that is permissible. So imagine, subhanAllah, if that is permissible, then min bab awla, giving them for their time and their effort would be then permissible. Then the issue comes and arises where we see very often in Egypt especially, can you pay someone to just read Quran? Can you? In Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, India, they do this. There's a big famous qari, his voice is beautiful. We know that if he comes, people are going to want to listen to him. His beautiful Quran recitation will bring people to the masjid. You know, you have Quran nights, this night, whatever night, right? Is it permissible then to pay them to recite the Quran? Yes or no? Yes. Because then again, you're not paying them exactly per se for the Quranic recitation that they're doing. You're paying them for their time, their expertise, and their freeing up of their schedule to then come out and then recite. And you find this in Egypt, you find this in Saudi, you find this all across the Muslim world. Everywhere, whenever there's a big gathering, how do they usually begin it? Recitation of the Quran. When we have phase 2 gala, what are we going to do? Recitation of Quran. Wherever we go, Muslims, whenever we unite, someone might come and say though then, it's bid'ah. This is bid'ah. The bid'ah argument. Oh my God, I'm so tired of it. Bid'ah. Allah doesn't say read Quran. It's unrestricted. This is completely read Quran. Okay, you read Quran walking, you read Quran sitting, you read Quran in a gathering of janazah, you read Quran in a gathering of happiness, you read Quran at graduation. Read Quran. It's not muqayyad at all. Mutlaq. Just read Quran. Every opportunity, every possible way, read Quran. So this issue of bid'ah only applies when you're bringing something foreign to the deen that doesn't already exist. Reading Quran is part of the deen. Okay, now if we apply it to then a graduation or this or that, this does not even come close to bid'ah. This is actually something that is sought for in Sharia, where Quran recitation should be done by Muslims all the time, and our lives should be always centered around reading the Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma ja'alna min ahl al-Quran, alladhina hum ahluka wa khassatuk, ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Question? Bismillah.